What's good, everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're just gonna be doing a quick LeetCode problem, easy on array. Yes, I know this is kind of out of nowhere, but feeling a little bit lazy today. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna start uploading. I'm still gonna be trying my best to upload every day, but I'm just feeling a little tired for now. So here we go. We have 14 longest common prefix. Once again, I'm going to read out the prompt, explain it, write out the code, explain the code, and it ended up in the video with time and space complexity. Okay, so write a function to find the longest common prefix string amongst an array of strings. If there is no common prefix, return an empty string of two quote mark thingy. Yeah, something like that. Okay, anyway, so basically, we're given an array of string, and we want the longest string at the beginning that is shared by all strings. So, and just by looking at the example one, what we have here is flower, float, and flight. The output is FL because that's the common prefix for all three of them. And then if we look at dog, race car, and car, there is, the car is there, but dog doesn't match, nor does the first of the race part doesn't, that part is like there's no common prefix among the input strings. So here's a very simple strategy. What you want to do is, number one, you want to assume the first string is the prefix. So what we're doing is we're looking at the first string, which is flower, and we're going to assume that's the prefix. Afterward, we're going to compare it with each other string. And inside of that, we're going to do while the current string doesn't start with this prefix, we're going to shorten. Let's just take this out. We're going to shorten the prefix from the end. So what it's kind of doing is, hey, is this flower the same as flow? No? Okay, then we're going to minus this R. Is the flower similar as flow? Again, no. Then we're gonna minus the R and E. So that's what I meant by shorten the prefix from the end. And then number three, at the end, whatever is left is the longest common prefix. Something like that. And keep in mind, if the prefix becomes empty at any time, then just return the empty the little two quotation marks. Okay, so let's write out the code, and I'm gonna keep this here, so I'll show you. First, we're gonna write the base case, which just basically tells you, hey, what if the string is just empty? If the string is empty, there's nothing to compare. So when that happens, you just want to return nothing. That's the output you want to return. Now, this is the first things first. This is when we first want to do the number one. So we're going to call string prefix. We're going to have string 0. So right here, what it's going to do is going to just pull out whatever's on the first string, like dog and flower. This, now we're going to write a for loop. This is the part where we're going to start comparing. And then inside the for loop, let's write a while statement, which will be the part where we start comparing. Starts with prefix, and then prefix is equal to prefix dot substring 0 and prefix dot length -1. And then just in case, so we're gonna have if prefix is empty, then return string. And then after the for loop ends, then we're gonna return prefix like that. Okay, so once again, I'll explain it, and let's just comment it down first. So this part is assume the first string is the prefix. That's for this. Now for the for loop, this is the part where we're going to compare the prefix with every other string. So our flower is going to be comparing with flow and flight. inside the while statement, what we're having is while current string does not start with prefix, keep shortening the prefix. So that's just what I meant by this part right here. If when you're comparing the string and it doesn't match, then we're gonna minus the prefix by 1, and then again. If the prefix becomes empty, then there is no common prefix. So if prefix becomes empty, no common prefix. And this part would just be at the, well, sorry, not at number 3, but like this would be the part where this comes in. So if there is no common prefix, then just return an empty string. And then towards the end, then you return whatever is left is the longest common string. So let's just quickly test it. Oh, I submitted on accident. You know what? It worked out anyway. You guys probably wanted to see that anyway. Okay, so let's quickly, just in case, I'm going to explain it one more time. So here's the base case. In case it's an empty array or null. So when that happens, if it's empty, you're not going to find any common string, any common prefix. Now, right here, this is where we're going to start by assuming the first string is the full prefix, and then we'll shrink it if it's needed. So loop over every other string in the array. So it would be string 1, string 2, like this. Like that. And then for the current string in string I, so like this. While it does not start with our current prefix, chop off the last character of the prefix. So this is the part where the prefix dot length -1. And then if we chop it down to empty, then there is no common prefix at all. So just return nothing. Okay. And then once the while stops, it means this specific string, for example, string 1, does start with the current prefix, so it's valid for all strings checked so far. And then after we've gone through all strings, prefix is the longest common prefix of the entire array. And I'll show you through example 1. So first things first, what we have here is string, all of that. Our prefix is flower. Now we're going to compare it with flow. So this is the part where we do the string start with prefix. Okay? So ignore the exclamation point real quick and just look at this part specifically. So we're comparing with flow. Does flow dot starts with flower? The answer is no. So when that happens, then the prefix up here, the flower, right here, the length is going to be -1. So now you do it again. Does the flow dot starts with flow with an E? The answer is still no. So now when that happens, prefix length -1 again. So when that happens, now we're going to compare it one more time. Flow dot starts with flow. The answer is yes. So when that happens, then you just stop shrinking. The while statement is done because this is no longer true. And when that happens, and then you do the same with flight. Right? So for flight, now it's going to compare with the flow. Not with this flow, but it's still the flower, but just without the ER now. Now does for flight starts with FLOW? The answer is no. So we're going to minus the W. What about FLO? The answer is still no. So minus the O. Now what about FL? The answer is yes. There is a FL in the flight. So when that happens, what we have left for the prefix become FL. And now the for loop is done because we've we're at the end of the string's length. We're at the very end. So for loop's done, return a prefix, it will return FL. You do the same thing with example 2, but the example 2 it's just very simple, right? First, you have a dog as the prefix, and you're going to compare race car. Does race car start with dog? No, so it's going to minus down to DO. What about DO? The answer is still no, so what about D? The answer is no. So now the prefix is empty. All you have to do is just return empty string. And that's it. Okay, and yeah, I already submitted, so now let's just end it off with the time and space complexity. Okay, so time complexity, we got to keep in mind, we're going to let n equal the number of string. And we're going to have L as total number of characters. Of characters across all strings. Like that. So for each time we shorten the prefix, we move at most L characters over the entire process. For each string, we compare prefix up to its length. Okay, so just keep in mind for time, which is big O of L, each character of each string is checked at most once while comparing prefix, and then space, big O of 1 is just constant extra memory used. That is it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you want to see another side of me that isn't always about computer science, then check out my other YouTube channel and come and watch my Twitch where I play a bunch of competitive games either by myself or with my friends. And not only that, but I do have my Discord available just in case if you wanted to add me either to just talk about anything, whatever you want, or have some kind of question from my video. Thanks.